You have heard about ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity if you're a student, PaperPal, and DeepSeek. Today, our conversation is going to be about artificial intelligence. I am Musanjifu Benjamin with my co-host Thomas Lesafe, and this is the East African Perspective. Joining us is Dr. Annabel Habinka from Makerere University, who is going to help us understand this whole AI issue, and especially from a Ugandan and regional perspective. So welcome to the East African Perspective. We shall start this conversation right away. Thomas, you could say hello to our audience.
Hello, Dr. Annabel. Hello, everyone watching us from East Africa, from the continent, and from the rest of the world. We're going to have a really exciting conversations today. Really important topics for the future of the youth, for the future of this region. So let's kick it.
Okay. Dr. Annabel, welcome to the East African Perspective.
Thank you.
Yes. Right away, I will start with the basics. What is AI? What is artificial intelligence?
Okay, thank you. AI is more or less like the use of computing power to help us to solve our key core problems within our communities, but in a more powerful way, in a more effective and more efficient manner, using strong computers. Yes, having learned especially what has taken place and being able to give you that predictive power to forecast on what will happen in the days to come or in the future.
Okay.
I understand you work in the computing department at Makerere University.
Yes.
Do we have the computers that can allow this to happen?
The infrastructure.
The computing infrastructure, I imagine those are gigantic, big computers. I'm not sure.
Yes, when we look at the kind of infrastructure needed, definitely it is very huge. As a university, our infrastructure is quite limited. We rely more with the partners, huge partners like Google, huge partners like IDRC that do lots of funding, because as you'll know, that being able to run a number of this infrastructure, you need a lot. You need the super servers that are very expensive, and we are just in the process of starting it. As a university, our local cloud as Makerere is to help our little systems, our legacy systems now, which are on within our integration platform as a university to run. But when it comes to AI, no, we don't yet have that capacity to run our own items. So we rely on the cloud that comes from elsewhere that we can be able to run our platforms on. Yes.
Okay. Yes, we did start with a question of AI. Now, this cloud thing, me and you may understand what the cloud is, but a little explanation on what the cloud is.
And why is it important?
Yeah.
Yes, the cloud are big servers. If you'd say it's a big, huge computer that have to be stored somewhere. Companies have actually invested in these big super servers that can help in supporting that human power or that computing power and speed that we cannot run on our side.
Okay.
Yes, based on the issues of infrastructure, on cost and all of that, it's the way to go. There is no way we can be able to run our own because our economies just can't afford. And again, know that infrastructure runs out quickly. Every 5 years, it gets outdated. Every 5 years. So we don't have those trillions of money as institutions, even as governments, to keep on disposing of billions and billions of dollars that we can't even earn. So we need to face the fact that we can only rely on this that is abroad, that is a business, that you pay small little money for someone to host it on our side. Yes.
And all that is not for nothing, because whatever is being done on these clouds helps with the communities, it helps with where we are going, in health, in education, in agriculture, climate,
That's right.
Okay.
Which field, you just named a certain of field, agriculture, health. Which field do you think like AI and the work you're doing at Makerere could have the most positive impact in Uganda? Is it health? Is it for the youth? Is it for, which field is it the most promising for now?
The biggest impact or the biggest issue within AI in Africa is permanently health. Health is the hugest, followed by agriculture. Then we move over to climate change. We go to education, and we roll over to all other different sectors. But the hugest is health. Look at the body. The body is still the biggest challenge that we do have. And without our bodies being fine, we can't do much. And so
productive.
People are coming up with all sorts of models that are micro into so many kinds of diseases to try and solve them. So there is a lot in health, yes.
So we have to count on us to develop those type of program or AI or algorithm that will help us with the health. Because I imagine as people in Norway or China don't have the same health issues than we have in tropical areas like here, right?
Yes, we have our contextual issues in Uganda that make us unique. If you look at the kind of diseases we get, there are some diseases that you just won't find elsewhere and that they're predominantly found within Uganda, within Africa because of our black pigment. So we have something very unique and we can't use models that are trained elsewhere to solve our own problems. And that's why it's very important. I'll give an example. There is a recent model that was diagnosed within Europe to solve over 1,000 diseases, predicting the kind of disease you will have in the next 30 to 50 years to come. And so we as the professors were wondering, what kind of data have they actually used to train it on? Fact be told, majority of it was from the whites. But some of it has actually been trained with some data from the blacks as well. So it can work for us, but we still need now to recontextualize something more with big data sets from the African continent on something that works for us. Because we want to live long. Yes.
Okay. And when we live long, we are more productive, we are innovative, and then maybe we can push our continent
Economy to the next level.
to the next level. So you have talked about that aspect of training it on so that it can be able to diagnose diseases.
Data set, yeah.
Yes. That means AI goes beyond what people think it is. Somebody who runs it on their phone. How are you going about this data training? How are you feeding it with the data?
So training the algorithm with the data that we have here.
Yeah, basically these models you have in Makerere.
And also maybe if I can add, like, how do you collect data? Because I think right now what we have is a lot of behavioral data. So how you hacked on your phone. We can predict quite a lot about how you hacked on your phone. But data about the skincare of someone in Arua or in Nairobi, I don't know if we have this set of data yet.
Yes, thank you. I'll begin with the how do we collect this data before we get to train it. We focus on very ethical ways of collecting data. And so getting permission from the rightful offices, for example, if you're collecting data from hospitals, we have to go through the research ethical approval components to ensure that the data that we collect is declassified. We have removed out, or they remove out, those patient components that will lead to a particular group of people, or even people that can be identified, even the personal component in it, and just focus, like, for example, if it's the image that we need, if it's like tuberculosis, and we only want to focus on the scans, we declassify that information away from tracing that this is patient X from this particular region. Then that way we can use it in a proper way just for purposes of study and help us to train it to come up with items that add value to us. That's how we do collect our data. So we follow through the protocols of every hospital, follow through all the protocols with Uganda National Council of Science and Technology, just to make sure that we have it totally declassified. And thereafter, once we've collected this data, enough for us to be able to use it in our labs, we can now be able to train the models, and we train them using different programs that you're able to get. Most of them are open source, yes, that we can be able to use to ensure that we make the best out of our prediction models. Yes, if it's from the labs, still the same thing. Having gone through the protocols like WHO that stipulates on the basics that need to be collected, then we go ahead and use that.
Okay.
Yes.
It's very important that you have mentioned the ethical bit, because we have had stories from time to time of data being stolen, and even the bigger companies being accused, the ones that we know.
I don't know if it's data being stolen, though. That's our problem is. It's the fact that we don't own the data.
Yeah.
So like it's not even stolen. TikTok have our data because we have consent.
We give it. No, that is giving. That is different.
But that's the data that they use then against us, or not very against us, but in order to make money out of us. I think
Yes.
that's the best term.
Okay, so we want to look at the outlook of AI. You are from Makerere. Are you partnering with any other institutions in Uganda, in the region? Are you working with... how much are you working with?
I also have the questions about that, but, but can we just get back to that data set that we talk about and just re-highlight, how do we stay sovereign? How do we stay sovereign in a situation, as you explained to us, that
as a country,
as a region, as a country, especially in that situation that you have explained earlier, where we have to partners with companies like Google, with companies like I don't know which one we use, Palantir or Okras, I don't know, but like what type of relationship can we establish with those big actors that have a commercial interest into the data that we might be able to collect, as you explain, package. And we might need the power of some of their computers to also run those such sort of data. Like, so how do we stay sovereign within this relationship that we need to have with tech giants?
Especially with the aspect of great power contestation, China,
and
America.
Definitely, I don't believe that China is not going to have a look at my TikTok. He will.
Yes, it goes back to why you're actually using it and for what purpose and for the benefit. So on our side, where it is work mainly meant for research, very important, data sovereignty is something that is quite very tough to handle. Very tough to handle, especially where you rely on infrastructure, where we rely on infrastructure from elsewhere. It becomes very difficult. The only part that we say we aim at being ethical in it is the declassification. That is, but as for where it is and where you will run it, that we can't actually say we have sovereignty for, as long as we don't have the necessary infrastructure. That still remains something for the future. But with time, we know that we will be able to run everything on our own, and we are heading there. And that's why the labs are coming up, and that's where the huge investments are coming in. But not until then, we still need these partnerships.
And to make those infrastructure that are key, as you talk about, do we have regional, are we stronger regionally, or are we stronger nationally? In the East African perspective, we tend to think that we are stronger regionally, but are we stronger as Uganda, or are we stronger in East Africa? Can we develop something East African, or do we have to develop it Ugandan first, then?
That is why I asked. Is it at Makerere only, or there are other universities, other institutions?
Tanzanian and Kenyan brothers,
I'll tell you, there's a whole huge consortium for Data Science Africa that is trying to bring together all the different scientists, data scientists, around the regions. Around Africa, around, even within Uganda, we have a data science chapter, Uganda, that bring together all the different data science experts within the different universities. Collaboration is there. Yes, and the trainings have to be done across board. We do collaborate with Gulu University Makerere University of Science and Technology, Mountains of the Moon, Busitema University, Kampala International University, Kampala University, private and government institutions. So intercollaboration has to work. We have to work together, and it's such kind of synergies that bring us together, that keep uniting us as one. When we go regionally, yes, with University of Nairobi, University of Bujumbura, University of Rwanda, all those are big key players within the region that have actually gone huge strides ahead. Dar es Salaam, University of Dar es Salaam, and many others. So we can't coexist. We can't exist on our own. We are stronger when we are working together as a team. And so even the kind of partnerships today and the kind of data and data sets are always picked up even within the regional components. But remember, we try to do this within a very ethical way, that we are not abusing any kind of persons that we pick this data from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is really good, but once again, it should be applied on the whole range of the question of data, because right now, 95% of the data our audience is doing leave the continent. So we can produce it ethically here, but if they don't do it on the other side, there will be a gap. But I understand that the data also you speak about is also a technical data. It's not just about what you scroll. It's not just about what you watch. It's also about like how does your skin is, like what type of hair. Like it's also about a specific data, so you can answer specific issues.
Questions. I'll give an example, like when it comes to agriculture.
Very good.
Have
Yeah.
very unique diseases in agriculture, in particular crops. Give an example of coffee, an example of passion fruits, an example of maize crops. And so what are some of the kind of AI models that people come up with? We pick data from our local crops, for example, diseases that are affecting our crops, and see how can we use our local technology, our local phones in quick diagnosis, and know exactly what should we and when should we be able to do the rightful spraying, and to what context, and even what kind of fertilizer will work for a particular issue before it spreads out into the entire plantation and it's wiped away. And you find that we don't have any maize maybe for the next year, which will cause us lots of food insecurity. So when we come up with this kind of small disease-trained models, we help the farmer make them own these key decisions so that they can quickly make and have a quick problem fix, where you don't have experts coming from the ministries, before they actually realize that this outbreak can actually wipe off a particular species. Yeah. So we try to empower the local person out there with the small technologies that they have on board.
Okay.
Excellent.
That we do.
Now, all this is still in its infancy, early stages, prototypes. True? Or
Some
which
have
phase
actually
is it?
gone.
some are out there?
Some are actually already out there and working, because people have taken time through, especially the PhD students, 3, 4, 5 years building these models. So they've really taken enough time to study them.
Okay, that is
There's some big
that is
projects
very
that we
encouraging
have,
and promising.
Very good.
Those on air that are looking at the contamination of air, and they've done lots of AI models for the last 10 years, and being able to know where are the hotspots that have lots of pollution.
That is why these days I can have air quality on my phone for Kampala anytime.
That's it. And you can be able to know what places should you be at, what places should you really live, and what do you need to do to keep your air more green.
Because I was about to ask, since you're from Makerere, I was going to ask, how are you incorporating all this research for your students? Is it at only PhD, or also people at bachelor's are taking on training about training AI models, or developing, helping with these technologies?
I will tell you, all the way from undergraduate, AI is the next, it's the end thing. If you have any solution without an AI component in it, we will doubt the level of innovation. What are you doing differently? So it's in right from undergraduate, everyone is training models, but the big issue is, where do you pick this data from? Can it be contextualized? For example, if you say you're dealing with digital fingerprints, maybe of criminals, where are you picking this data from? That is the whole big issue. If you're talking about like cleanliness, where are you picking the data sets from? And for now, our biggest challenge, I will tell you, is that we don't have the data sets in Uganda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of them are all from India, they're all from abroad. And that's why there is a huge big drive that we're having currently to see that we collect our declassified data sets, make them available, and share them within a contextualized environment, especially for study purposes.
Yeah, it's interesting you speak about that because as a PhD student, I come to interview some people from Google, Zimbabweans from Google, and they were telling me that one of the issue I was working on ID AI for ID verifications and how we can have security and securing those things, and then they told me that Chinese algorithm so we are in the beginning of the 2020s, they very struggle to recognize Black people face, and that the algorithm was based on data set that they bought from Americans and Europeans and Chinese. So they were quite good at covering this, and they had very efficient technology at the time. But they couldn't figure out on the African continent how it works. And yet they knew it was a big market for the future developments. So what happened is that they contact the ZANU PF at the time was still run by Mugabe. And they sold all the pictures of Zimbabweans that the government had for the passport and the ID. They sold them to China in exchange of surveillance machines that could recognize that could recognize people in Harare Straits. And so you find an authoritarian regime that one technology of surveillance that is able to buy technology of surveillance, but he doesn't buy it with his money. He's buying it with the data of his citizens. And so it become it's become a big sovereignty questions because basically, I think our viewers didn't know that, but like all the algorithms that we use today are based on Zimbabwean face. And he has made a huge difference for China.
Thomas, you could maybe look at it from a positive point of view. In the past, African governments have paid for roads, bridges with gold.
Yes.
Maybe we could pay for these things with data.
But also, I think Professor has explained it clearly, like, what they can do with it is also dangerous. Like we have problems. But I want to ask you,
Yes.
just before that, like, you work with young people. I'm sure they're really enthusiastic about all what you explained to us. I imagine that
That's right.
they may be proud of trying to participate to that and do that gap that will make a difference in Ugandan health in agriculture. What would you advise our young viewers to do right now with AI? Like what advice can you give them? And also, we know that they're looking for jobs. We know that a lot of them are entrepreneurs and want to make that thing that can break through. Obviously, your research are for the nations, for the country. But what would you advise our young people to do of this AI right now? And to make sure to use it safely as well?
Especially that it is also trained on finance and economy.
And he has to make money. It has to make money. All of this data has to make money. Otherwise, it wouldn't be collected. Same way for coffee. If you get a coffee tree that doesn't give you coffee beans, not gonna grow for long.
Be helpful.
Yes.
That's true. My advice to the young viewers out there is that AI is here to stay. They better jump on the boat. In a place like Uganda, where we have over 70% being the youth, in order to survive and get jobs, AI is a part and parcel of us. We don't want to look at it as just a challenge, but more like the solution for the future. So my advice is that wherever there is any opportunity to digitally skill oneself in AI, get on board, get these skills, and solve the problems around you. Start with the most basic and move on to the complex. But skilling is the first thing that everyone needs to first get. And of course, then thereafter, seeing the application of it will make the difference. And in everything you do, the money component should always come in to ensure that survival and sustainability works through. So wherever we are, we need to think smart, we need to work smart and see that we are able to work. And also start up businesses. There are lots of innovation hubs that are within the region, within Uganda. That's a good starting point to see that they first of all build their skills and see how they can get even small initial grants and funding that can make them more sustainable and move on to opening up bigger businesses. That's how businesses like Uber did start up, M-Pesa did start up. They started up small, and thereafter they are now expanding and moving on.
And they're gigantic and they're worldwide.
So, still on the issue of the young ones.
But just I want to highlight this, sort out local issues.
Yes.
Sort out local issues. If you try to make deep fake to get Donald Trump out of power, it is not going to work. Start with local issues. I like that. I very like that, because I think that's something, when you get those skills, you usually get them from also overseas as well. Like if you watch videos on how AI functions or try to understand those things, sometimes you get it from outside. And then when you actually think about it, you think about it with an outside perspective. The big gap, the big difference is to do it to sort out local issue, because when you will sort out local issue, then you move forward into the type of things you can do. But first by the local things, like simple and local things, like where do you get, I don't know, I won't get an
actually, if let's say
you use, important that our audience understand
if you used an AI model and you told it about your business from day to day, it could even help you if you want to predict where your business would be in the Ugandan economy in 3 months, in 6 months. It can help you to make those decisions. It can give you business plan.
It can help you with business plans. But also, like, if you try to, it's you have to sort out local issues. I think it's very important because they do that. That's how OpenAI functions. That's how DeepSeek function. They first look at their problems and sort out their problems. And by developing something, then they can sell it. Because they have developed it fast. But we often tend to think that we need to think immediately global, immediately international. No. M-Pesa sort out a Kenyan's and a Ugandan issue before he sort out Afghanistan issue, French issues, and American issues. And they are on all those markets now. But first they look at the problem they have. And I think that's a very
so key, still on the young people, you are trying to train models to help enhance in Karamoja to diagnose. If Dr. Annabel, if you gave coursework in Makerere and you put out a question and told people to go do it, and then they submit and they use lots of AI, what do you think about that? Because we have seen some people in academia are not yet open to that, and not yet open to their students producing work that they have done with the assistance of AI. What do you think about that? What would you advise to your students?
Okay, thank you very much. AI, as I mentioned, is here to stay. It has just made work extremely very simple. As a lecturer, we shouldn't make any fuss out of it. We actually need to use it to make life even better and simple. And so where you have this kind of questions, expect students, especially if they are just recall questions, expect students to actually submit work in the next few minutes because all the answers are rightful there. And so the issue now is on our side to be more innovative in the kind of contextual local questions we need to ask them, because as we said, they must solve the real actual problems in our community. So we will ask you questions that are applying a particular theory, but within your local community. So it's okay, go to the AI, get the facts there, bring them and use them to solve your real issues within your community. Education-wise, we are now moving towards the competence-based kind of teaching, bringing it home. What can you do? And there must be a money component in it. Can you use it to earn money for your living? As I've told you, 70% of the people are the youth. If we don't teach them to make money with the little that they are learning in class, and we just teach them it's copy-paste, it's regurgitate, it's not helping them. Use it to their betterment, but use it to solve our contextual issues that are adding value, and also make money out of it. Don't be poor. End of the day, go out there and see how you can make money out of it. At least that
If
is
you could make
something that
as
they're
much money,
emphasizing.
if you could make as much money as they do of your data, then you win.
Yeah, true, because that is the best way you're
Because
going
they
to.
do make
it's
money.
a-
That's
it's
the
a-
economic model. I remind people that Facebook, TikTok, all those gigantic companies make money on data. They don't make money on petrol. They don't make money on gold. They don't make money on skills.
They are
make
the
money
richest.
on data. And
You
data
can
is
see
the
the
new gold.
richest in the world. They are all the IT people.
The biggest company in the
Yeah.
world, Navida, is producing hardware to handle all our data. Just the chip.
the chips.
They don't
okay.
try to transform petrol into something that can send rockets to the moon or electronic car. They base on data. Data is the biggest economy right now. It's the gold, and it used to be sugar. Back in my days, it was sugar, Coca-Cola, especially company who's selling. Now it's data, right? So they make money from your data. Try to make money out of it.
As we come to the tail end of this, so at the beginning of this year, there was a huge fuss about AI. Markets were falling. When DeepSeek came onto the market from China, we were getting used to OpenAI, the ones that do ChatGPT. We have so many of them. As Uganda, as Africa, as Makerere, how are you navigating these waters of great power contestation? There is China on one end, America and Europe on one end. Is it advisable to go one end or to stay in the middle? Because now here we're talking about collaborations, we're talking about funding. There's a lot
I
to
don't want to
learn.
use American algorithm. I can tell you, no, I use a European one. It's called Russia. And yeah, because I do believe that the data is very sensitive. So you need to also give it to the right person. The worst enemies. I don't know how to say it.
You choose a better devil.
But yeah, it's a very good question. Do we have such things?
I'll tell you that it's very important to see that we keep as sovereign as we can, as much as possible to keep as independent as we can. And that is the whole bigger picture as Africa, as Uganda. And that's what we are trying to do. And so when we look at the power struggles between China and our own is to see that we develop our own. We're aiming at developing our own. And there are quite a number of models. I'll tell you, even way back since COVID time, huge innovators were coming up with our own local Zoom within Uganda, because people realized that actually several people were tapping into the secret meetings.
The secret
people were
meetings,
having,
business meetings, political
and government
meetings.
just stopped using it. Yes, at the Nakawa Innovation Hub, we have our own innovation there that have actually come up with their own, and they're using their local Zoom that is controlled and saved within Uganda. So number one, first things first, our policies. If our governance can first work for us to have policies, strategies, and laws that are first of all controlling our data. I know my colleague here will tell us that we can't actually do that, but we need to first start somewhere.
Yes.
Once
But do
our
they
laws-
ask you? Do you have conversation with the government about this? Does the lab has conversation on how to shape policies so we...
Very much, and I will tell you
is
the
happening.
AI strategy
Fantastic.
and the policies in Uganda have gone in the very extreme levels. The AI law is soon being enacted by Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. Within the smaller institutions, AI strategies are all happening. I sit on a number of boards, and I will tell you, in this country, every university is coming up with their AI strategy because they realize that a lot is happening, but it needs to be done in a systematic way. They need to do it in the rightful, ethical way. So when it comes to these markets on where we fall, we have to still collaborate with them. But the bigger picture is that we need to keep in mind that we need to develop our own. We need to see what we can control. And the laws, we try to cap down on what is being abused out there. That's the most that the country tries to do. I mentioned about NITA and the Personal Data Protection Office that tries to provide more awareness and more training onto the Ugandans onto what can they do and how can they do it in a proper way, that we are not abusing data, but we are using it to solve our actual problems, especially the tech giants. They're actually taking them on, especially these small fintechs that come up and are collecting fingerprints, digital. And once government finds that you are actually selling this data, they're actually suing a number of these companies that are doing it wrongfully.
Okay.
Yes. So they are trying to come up with something that can help us. We are taking baby steps. We are starting somewhere, but we do believe that in the next few years, 5 years from now, at least the word will have gone on that yes, some laws are in place and we need to do things the right way than doing them out of context.
It's very good to know that the government is actually asking and listening people like you. I found that, optimistic. More of the bad cop here and pessimistic sometimes with those technology. But I found that optimistic that there is conversation in the government and that the government asks the right person. Because I do believe that if they ask advisor only from Google and a foreign company, they will play on the interest of the
they will take their own interest.
It's important we defend sovereignty here with our professors and our doctors and the students that you train. I imagine also as well will tomorrow be part of those conversations. So very good, very good. Thank you so much.
As we, I don't know if Thomas has any other question, but this will be the last. Should we expect, you have talked about in the next few years, should we expect AI to create jobs, or the whole AI ecosystem to create jobs?
Is it going to create job or is it going to replace job?
Yes.
That was also my
because we know at some point we shall
say,
need data centers, we shall need our own servers. Are we going to see Ugandans working in these centers? Where are we going to see AI in the next few years, especially with our economy? We care very much about our economy, our GDP. Do we have some money in the pocket?
We have something around 20 to 25 million people just in Uganda going to have to find a job in the next 10 years. Should they fear AI or should they please AI?
Yes.
Thank you very much. When it comes to jobs, actually, even as a country, really we are looking at AI as our future of job creation. All the way from the innovations to the startups, it's something that we are saying it's a must do. AI is not about to replace any huge jobs. No, it's to help us be more efficient and save us on more time. But the kind of jobs I tell you that we are actually foreseeing that we are going to have are more on the analytics, because you realize that every organization, every business is collecting data in one way or the other. So the first things first that people are going to actually get jobs in is first from the data collection itself, the data structuring, the data representation of it, the data cleaning. So there is that whole life cycle that all the young people are going to take advantage of in creating jobs. It will actually not even throw out more jobs. We're actually going to find ourselves that we need now a new cluster of people that are actually working, that need to have AI in everything they do. Are you an accountant out there? You are going to work smart, because now what used to take you to audit books for 6 months, 1 year, you will do it in 2 days, in 3 days. What does it do? You're going to have more money in your pocket in a very short time and earn you more money. You're not going to actually lose the jobs. No, we are going to actually create more jobs, because we are going to work smarter and we are going to solve our issues that are contextual. So issues to focus on are mainly issues of the data cleaning, the data creations, and even more on the analytics and predictions. People won't spend more time in boardrooms guessing a lot of, we are going to think smart, because every MD, every CEO will want to make smart decisions, spend less times in meetings and spend more time in the actual doing of the actual work out there. Yes, so as we build up more infrastructure, as we build up more skills out there, the future is right here, and the young people do have it. It's right in our hands. We need to remain very optimistic, go out there, think smart, and solve our contextual issues within our localized problems. Not forgetting that we have a language issue and a culture issue that gives us a huge niche that no one else has. In East Africa, we are over 200 kind of languages. If you look at the AI models that are within East Africa, there are few. They're not up to even 50. So we still have a huge data set out there that we still need to pick up on. So we shouldn't look at it as a challenge, but it will work for us. Look at the Swahili models, look at the Luganda models, look at the natural language processed models. That is the way to go so that we can be able to develop. And I'll tell you, especially where countries are now fighting and pulling over, are you pro-Russia? Are you pro-this? No. Pro-Uganda is what we are working for. Pro-East Africa is what we are working for. So that even when they lock us out, what are we going to focus on? We are going to focus on our software that is within our contextual areas, our operating systems that should be more language processed with local languages. That is where the power lies. And that's what will help us survive all these digital wars that will happen in the future. Thank you very much.
That's very good. I wanted to do a conclusion, but there is no way I'm going to reach close to that good.
I will.
It's very good. It is very good, very optimistic, and also like thinking of niche and thinking of where is it that we can invest directly. Once again, if we try to do the same thing as Google or TikTok is doing, we're not going to win. But as doing it for sorting out local issues and looking at the actual niche, such as the language, as you explained. Of course, I never thought of that. But of course, we have a lot of language here, so we should have a lot of language models that we can make ourselves that can produce economically.
Yeah. So when we're prepping for this, me and Thomas watch what happens in the world, and we see a darker picture. But Dr. Annabel has painted a brighter
She brings
picture.
some light. She brings some light.
Yeah,
Definitely.
And Africa, Uganda is not being left behind as we were thinking.
Yes.
Which is a very, very good thing. And if we are doing something, we know we shall get somewhere. Thank you very much, Dr. Annabel, for this insightful discussion.
And from what you're doing. And for what you're doing after those type of
Feel free
discussions.
to invite me anytime so that we can further this discussion.
We shall.
As research keeps unfolding.
Definitely, that's something. Every 6 months we can have a new conversation about such things because it will be completely different. That's the exciting time we're living in.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for everyone watching us from Nairobi, Tanzania, or from Uganda, or from Burundi. And if you look at us in French, wait for it.
That was the East African perspective.
Thank you.